Every day at the University of Portland, trash cans pile high with food that students can't finish, and the kitchen throws away fresh cooked food that can easily be donated. 23.5 million Americans live a mile away from supermarkets or access to fresh and nutritious foods, commonly referred to as food deserts. This is the same number as the population of Taiwan. Food deserts are an issue because not everyone has transportation or funds to purchase food outside of a food desert if they live in one. People in food deserts rely on smaller stores in close proximity that tend to have higher prices and less variety, especially of fresh foods. People who live in food deserts are more likely to buy processed foods, which are often high in salt, fat, and sugar, since fresh fruits and vegetables are not easily accessible. Food waste has always been an American problem. 133 billion pounds of food are wasted every year, and supermarkets are responsible for 10% of that. That's 13 billion pounds of food wasted by supermarkets every year. 13 billion pounds would be enough rice to feed 26 billion people, nearly 4 times the global population. The term food desert was first officially used in 1995 to describe the ongoing issue of residents who lived in a far distance away from fresh and nutritious food. Since then, the problem has only intensified, as the term food desert is becoming more frequently used to describe the ongoing problem. Americans throw away $165 billion worth of food each year. 40% of food is wasted in the United States every year, which translates to 62 million tons of food. The average American household throws away $2,200 worth of food every year. Obviously, food waste is an ongoing national problem, and due to the high food manufacturing and waste at the University of Portland, our school is definitely a major contributing factor to the problem. By resolving how the University of Portland handles our wasted food, we could definitely make a difference and potentially inspire other campuses to make the same change. Not only do people in food deserts spend more money, but they spend their health. Oregon is one of the hungriest states in the nation. In 2016, we were the only state to record an increase in childhood hunger. The only food available to many children in Portland is government-subsidized breakfast and lunch. Dinner may be a bag of chips or nothing at all. These children are at a greater risk of becoming obese or developing chronic diseases, according to a study on food deserts published in the journal Annual Review of Public Health in 2007. According to the Food Access Research Atlas, generated in tandem with Michelle Obama's Let's Move initiative, Portland alone is home to 27 food deserts. This means that in 27 areas near us, with East Portland in a particularly tough spot, are forced to substitute healthy food for fast foods that contribute to obesity and malnutrition. Whole neighborhoods and demographics are being subjected to long-term health effects, while the U.S. annually wastes 62 million tons of food. American consumers annually spend $218 billion growing, processing, transporting, and disposing of food that will never be eaten.
In order to positively affect the Portland community, we must address the problem of food deserts through a reallocation of resources we already have. Urban Gleaners has 26 local entities that contribute to their food bank. Lewis and Clark, PSU, and even St. John's donate leftover food to the initiative, but our school, which has plenty of meals at the end of the day, has yet to help fix a problem that lives in our backyard. The University of Portland prides itself on being a sustainable university, stating in their mission statement, "The University of Portland is committed to living and acting sustainably. Attention to living sustainability requires us to actively be aware of the environmental, social, and economic needs of our present generation without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs." Even though the University of Portland markets itself as a sustainable campus, everyday sustainability measures are completed by the students. We all know that administration is slow to make changes, and some of the things we advocate for today may not become the standard until long after we've graduated. But we cannot give up hope. We cannot stop proposing solutions to eco-waste and Portland's hunger problem. Even though it often takes far longer than we'd like, we're the people who can convince the administration to make progress to become a better university and community partner. We've already seen results of what students can do when we group together, speak up at town halls, petition for change, and hold our school accountable. We may not have the same authority as Father Portman, but together we can change our campus. As the student body grows, so does our power. We have the power to speak out and to actually create change. In fact, according to an article by The Beacon, the current student-led compost program must remain run by students to cover the entire campus beyond the dorms and possibly expand. Our campus needs us to progress. The compost example proves the University of Portland does not have the manpower or the motivation to make the changes it needs without our support. We may be students, but we can make a difference.
Plans for composting and sustainable eating are currently in place at the university, but the initiatives are not sustained. Brandon Rivera, the president of UP's student government, approached Andre Hutchinson, the director of physical plant, to discuss expanding the student-led compost initiative in December. Hutchinson quickly turned the idea down, deeming it too expensive in terms of time and money to implement an entirely new program or new staff. However, a town hall meeting held in March evidenced that the student body is seriously interested in improving our sustainability efforts, perhaps more interested than our administration. If we want to live up to our sustainability statement and Catholic mission, we must pressure the university administration to implement necessary funding and programs so that we can be as sustainable as possible. Bon Appetit has done a good job at cutting back on food waste with the implementation of new eco-friendly to-go boxes, as well as the implementation of paper straws, a movement which was spearheaded by Professor Tara Prestholt. However, these improvements were not initiated by the administration, the on-campus demographic that wants to appear sustainable. The university banks on false advertising to attract students that want to live sustainably, but provides little support when it comes to improving our campus's waste reduction efforts. The student body must work with Bon Appetit and professors to create new systems for food waste if we want to create change on campus. This is why we propose that UP becomes an affiliate of Urban Gleaners. Gaining support for sustainability requires showing the outcomes of food waste to the eyes of the public. We are continually distanced from looking at what our habits produce, but what if we told you you could see the outcomes of food waste right here in Portland? Parts of Lombard Street, just outside of University Park, are considered food deserts. This means that our neighbors rarely have access to fresh or nutritious food and require government subsidies to put food on the table. If we as a university can produce 2,000 pounds of food compost in 1 year just within residence halls, there is no reason why we can't reallocate where our food is going. In order to become a pickup site for Urban Gleaners, we must gain the support of students that are willing to carry out pickup and processing duties. We also need to bring Urban Gleaners' work to the attention of Bon Appetit to determine the feasibility of the program. Our campus-wide sustainability efforts have started to gain momentum, but composting is not enough to combat food waste. Composting simply makes us feel better about the food we're wasting. As a practice, it does not force us to drastically change our habits or thinking. To truly reduce food waste, we must change our campus food systems. We must work to provide the greatest amount of people with the food we produce each day. As a university, we've pledged to be part of St. Francis's Laudato Si mission. His encyclical states that all people must devote their time to concrete action and advocacy. We waste nutritious and organic food in an area directly affected by a lack of food options. We must show our students, Bon Appetit representatives, and our administration that we contribute to this systemic marginalization and that we can reduce this problem. In order to properly function as a Catholic institution, we cannot perpetuate the marginalization of people's lives, especially when they're our neighbors. We must do everything in our power to reduce food waste and increase the quality of life for more people. We must learn to use our food differently. The people at Urban Gleaners understand the importance of fresh and healthy foods in a person's diet, so they actively work with partners to provide timely and satisfying meals. They don't pass out canned foods. Rather, they coordinate with participants to put together meals and transport fresh food to people in food deserts. Bon Appetit already works with Lewis and Clark to transport food twice a week from their campus to people in underserved areas. We could follow in their footsteps by packaging and loading food from campus during the afternoon so that it can be transported to locals as a healthy, fresh, and free dinner option. Students are obviously interested in reducing food waste if the student-led Residence Hall compost program is still active. The work of 4 students alone supports this effort. If we had the time and support of at least 10 students, the idea of repackaging our food for urban gleaners to pick up and redistribute to Portlanders could become a reality. We waste and compost too much food in our campus eateries to sit by and watch the problem of food deserts grow.
We propose the University of Portland adds urban gleaners to their list of Moreau Center affiliated volunteer opportunities to combat a local and national problem. We propose anyone that is interested to talk to their ASUP senators about expanding our food waste initiative to include urban gleaners, to talk to the Moreau Center about partnering with them for federal work study, as well as to take the time to package or transport meals at Urban Gleaners headquarters. About 23.5 million Americans must travel more than a mile to purchase groceries. That is approximately the population of Taiwan. Is that so hard to fathom that the amount of people struggling with this ordeal amount to a population of a country? This issue is certainly not limited to Portland or even Oregon, but rather there are millions across the country experiencing an epidemic of malnutrition because of the unavailability of proper food within walking distance. As Americans, we annually waste 54 billion more tons of food than there is plastic in the ocean. There is 8 million metric tons of plastic deposited into the ocean from land waste. We can help decrease the amount of pollution and plastic the nation produces from uneaten food by partnering with urban gleaners. This means that if we as a university implement the Urban Gleaners Initiative, we can work to alleviate 2 major problems that afflict the modern American. Our environment and our own health are too serious to overlook, so let's start working with urban gleaners to protect both.